Day 3 of the Dodge Power Brokers NHRA US Nationals is complete. Night 1 of the Camper Mill Drag Series complete. We are standing here on the quote-unquote, I guess, the end of the staging lane, start of the starting area. Crazy night of qualifying. The smell of air, rubber, and nitromethane has filled this entire area of what I would believe to be Hendricks County. If you look back there on the lights, you can see the haze left over behind from the nitromethane exhaust of the fuel cars. What a crazy night. We saw some really quick speeds. Fastest in pro stock motorcycles was a Krawick. Eric Anders is P1 right now in pro stock. Robert Height is the fastest in funny car, and Justin Ashley is the fastest in top fuel. But obviously, there's a lot more that went on besides those 4 drivers. So let's take a run through the top 10. Like I said, Eddie Krawick pretty fast in the opening part of qualifying. He takes over the number 1 spot. Notes I've had: Chip Ellis in the left lane had issues. Problems were in the pro mod in that lane, where a lot of cars had close calls either with the wall or the center lane. Matt Smith had mechanical issues in the staging lanes prior to his run. He sits, I believe, outside the top 10 at the moment. You'll see the results on your screen of those top 10 as it stands. Joey Gladstone had a very slow run in Q1, a 7.017 at 193.49 miles an hour. And like I said, Krawick taking the top spot at 6.826 at 198.79 miles an hour. So we got very competitive over there. Really big shout out to Savoie running that Gator-themed pro stock motorcycle. That's one of my favorites right now that I've seen so far this weekend. I love that Gator skin on it. I believe Gators Daily on Twitter would be a big fan of that pro stock. I'm going to have to send that to him, especially for the day. I can't say it on YouTube because I don't want to get demonetized because of swearing, but if you know, you know. Pro stock notes. The Quadras were really fast early on in the going. Christian Quadra currently sitting in the top 5 with a 6.606. So big props to them for really laying it down in Q1. Especially for the fact in a Chevy heavy class, we have 3 Ford Mustangs that still are able to bring the fight week in and week out, especially going into the countdown. Like we said, though, Erica Enders, top of the board. She currently holds the number 1 spot to no one's surprise. We have Greg Anderson still sitting inside the top 10. He's having a really good day so far. We talked with him earlier in the day, but microphone issues plagued us on that. So we're going to try and talk to him again tomorrow and redo the interview. But again, chasing his 100th win and his 170th pro stock final. In the video I said he sits 3rd all time when it comes to pro stock wins at the U.S. Nationals, second only to his mentor Warren Johnson, who he's tied with, and Bob Glidden, the legend in the pro stock categories here out of Whiteland, Indiana. Top field call out was right afterwards. Brittany Forrest called out Mike Salinas, and Steve Torrance called out Justin Ashley. I'm pointing that out right now because it's important later in the video. Funny car notes. Dale Creasy Jr. came really close to crossing the line, about half track. He held on to it, was able to keep his run. Paul Lee was the first to hit 300 miles an hour. He hit 322 miles an hour, and if you're wondering about the Phillips Connect Mr. 300 challenge, where you have to hit 300 miles an hour by the 8th mile, he did not hit that. He hit 274, so a bit of the ways off, but a pretty good start here if you're paying attention to that. I do have those notes for the guys who were close in that category. Blake Alexander went 323. He hit only 284 at the 8th mile. Jim Campbell crossed the center line, causing him to receive a point penalty and also have his time disallowed. So right now he sits without a time on the outside looking in of that 821 car field. Cruz Pedregon went 324. Alexis comes close to hitting Cruz in the shutdown area, which is a really big key point for tonight. Very, very many close calls down that track of cars either getting close to the center line or crossing that center line and almost hitting somebody. So very scary moments were here happening in Q1 here tonight. But like I said, Cruz had 324. Both of them were under 280 miles an hour. John Force goes 3:33. He hit 286 at the 8th mile. And then, honestly, the big story of the night so far, Ron Capps. He was having a run. He misjudged, I guess, how far he was. He was going a little bit too faster to react than what he needed to. And he actually hit the wall towards the top end of the track, which disallowed his time. He was very upset about it in the shutdown area when he was doing an interview with NHRA when they played over the PA system. Very disappointed with the fact that his team now has to work to rebuild, to fix that car, to be able to come back out here tomorrow to try and do it. But with the rain in the forecast, it's a who's who, if that's even going to be a thing. We don't know yet. Matt Hagan pulls the chutes early. There's actually a picture of service on Twitter from an NHRA TV screenshot where just at the top end, his parachutes came out, but the headers are still shooting flames full throttle. So I don't know if he pulled the chutes early or if the electronic system pulled it for him. We're going to have to figure that out. But regardless, he pulled the chute early. That ruined his run. Meanwhile, his championship rival, Robert Height, went P1 at 3.871 with 3.871. He was only 278 at the 8th mile. And those are going to matter because tomorrow, I believe right here is where they're going to do it because they did top fuel right here. They're probably going to do funny car here tomorrow morning. Those guys are going to be deciding their funny car call out. And with what they did today with the top fuel, I wouldn't be surprised if they did it again. Top fuel. Will Smith, if you watch this channel, we talked to him earlier in the day. He made his top fuel debut today in the U.S. Nationals. Ran up really consistent, 318 miles an hour in his first ever pass. Larry Dixon was standing on that starting line up there, was ecstatic with how that run finished. He is currently sitting 15th in that Larry Dixon Miller Genuine High Life Top Fuel Dragster. So right now he's sitting 15th. And on the inside, his goal was to make that 16-car field. The 30-year dream for Will Smith currently stays alive going into tomorrow. Because right now what he believes was he needs a high 7. He ran an 8.44. So he still has a little bit to be comfortable. But he right now, with what happened with some of the top guys having engine failures, he currently sits 2 spots in the good. Scott Palmer popped an engine towards the top end of the track. He lost his run because of that. Now, I know there's a lot of people. I posted this on Reddit, and thank a lot, because, again, shout out to the NHRA subreddit. They were a big part in helping me learn this sport and getting into this. Lex June was one of the guys someone asked they wanted to see more coverage of. Well, I don't think that's the coverage that you wanted. But Lex June went out there, was over there in the left lane, absolutely nailed his reaction time, had a career best run, but had it taken away from him because of crossing the center line. I talked about that close call that happened to Funny Car. Well, it happened in Top Fuel too. Happened between him and Scott Farley. Had a very close collision. We were sitting up in the grandstands watching that, and it is still a shock that those two didn't collide. I called it that more than likely somebody was going to crash it. I don't know if you want to count Ron Capps in the wall, but we damn sure made that quota happen tonight with how close we got. Spencer Massey shattered his engine. He was having a very solid run where he was at the 8th mile, ran a 2.134 and was at the 330 feet mark. So not the 8th mile, a little beforehand. But regardless, he had a very good run going for him, and then he just absolutely shattered the motor. So that completely ruined his run. Clay Milliken with Rick Ware Racing making their debut this weekend at the Dodge Power Brokers U.S. Nationals. So many sponsors, I'm still trying to remember off the top of my head, even though I'm literally looking at a Dodge hauler right behind me. He currently sits solidly. He said in his vlog at Brainerd after losing in round 1 that they were going to throw everything they had at this weekend, and so far so good. Sitting P8 right now with a 3.761. That puts him in a good spot. Tony Schumacher, we've talked about dealing with that 50-part penalty after Brainerd, also dealing with a Black Widow spider bite. We're over in the right lane, and he had a mechanical failure. So right now he is on the outside looking into this 25 car Top Fuel field. So right now he's on the outside looking in, trying desperately to make it back in. The 10-time champion looking to redeem himself and possibly win a record 11th championship. That's what it looks like here. How about Clear Motorsports? Both of them ran at the same time. They run identical times. Mile an hour is a little bit different, but regardless, they both ran a 3.75. So you want to talk about consistency between teammates? Look no further. They did it right there. They were even from the starting line all the way to the finish line, and it was crazy to watch. See those two. So right now they both sit with a 3.75, equal on each other. Mike Salinas finishes it off with a 3.72. Brittany experiences failures of his own. He experiences failures of his own towards the 8th mile, and like we said, Justin Ashley, fastest on the boards. He takes over the top spot going into day 2. On top of that, he was only about less than 9 miles an hour off of claiming that Phillips Connect Mr. 300 8th mile challenge. He was at a 291. You need to hit 300. I asked him in the post-race media bullpen press conference, do you feel you have what it takes to hit that 300 miles an hour? He said, maybe not here, possibly at Maple Grove. So while we're close here, they're maybe aiming towards Pennsylvania. So look towards that when we get down there. But regardless, electrifying day to start off. One thing I want to point out, these grandstands. I've seen a lot of people complain online about how NHRA is dead for what they've done, the decisions they made. I don't know what you're looking at. I don't know what you're watching. I was here today. The crowd turnout from between Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday grew exponentially day after day after day. And tonight, this entire grandstand was filled. The GA section was filled. The top eliminator club was filled up here. And then the suite side of the grandstands, absolutely packed. We had a stellar turnout for night qualifying, and that's day 1 on a Friday. We still have Saturday, Sunday, and Monday to go. So I'm expecting a huge turnout. It's going to be exciting to watch. I get to be possibly up in the Fox booth, so I get to have a bird's eye view of that tomorrow. So again, amazing turnout here at the U.S. Nationals. We talked about it at day 1. I'm going to hammer this in. NHRA is not dead. Indianapolis is back. The electricity is here. The atmosphere is here. The excitement is here. Even the announcers were talking about how the energy has been brought back to the U.S. Nationals, and people are excited. We still have 4 more sessions of qualifying left to go, and then we have an entire day of eliminations left before we're even done with this. So again, a lot left to go on. I've been giving shout-outs all week. Again, shout-out to Dodge because we finally got to see their full setup in the Midway, and they have their own simulator. Not even our factor, a set of Corsa. They have their own simulator set up in there, which is amazing to look at. They have a lot of cool cars in there. Again, they have the Paul Rossi and the Herb McCandless. I tried to get an interview with Herb McCandless, but sadly, with time constraints, and when we tried to do it, there's a lot of noise in the Midway, so we weren't able to do it. He had to leave today, so we did not get to talk to Herb, which is a huge disappointment. I was looking forward to that. But still, an amazing setup by Dodge. If you're coming to the U.S. Nationals this weekend, I highly recommend you come check that out because they have really put their A game into making this an A-class event. Same for the NHRA. I want to give also a shout out to the people in the media center. This is my first full day being in the media center, and they opened me with welcome arms. It was incredible to be able to talk to some of these people, meet a lot of people coming up to me and just chatting with me, and amazing to see how many people have actually watched my content. So again, NHRA, there's really nothing like it. If you really want to get into motorsports, this is the one that isn't going to turn you away. It isn't going to gatekeep. It isn't going to do any of that. They love that people are coming to these events. They want people to come to these events. So if you have the time, if you live near a national event, please make the drive. They have national events all across the country. They're going, especially in the NASCAR community, they're going to Charlotte after this. So if you want to go watch the Carolina Nationals, I highly recommend it because the ZMAX Dragway is an incredible site to watch a drag racing event, and it's going to be the first race of the countdown. So again, day 2, a lot more qualifying, a lot more races, a lot more interviews. There's still a lot more storylines to be said before this is done, so we are far from over before calling it to see who's going to win the 68th Annual U.S. Nationals. We're going to be back here tomorrow. All day coverage. I'm going to do the best I can to give you guys what I can. I'm going to try and get as many interviews as we can. Again, we didn't get Clay Milliken today. He was pretty busy, but we do have a way to possibly talk to him tomorrow. I'm going to try and get Greg Anderson again. Lovely guy. All right, Brody, come in here real quick. All right, tell me, you're with Greg Anderson. Are you a fan of Greg Anderson?
Oh yeah, he's my first stock guy now.
Absolutely. What a great guy. He was an incredibly nice guy. Love talking to him. He was my early pick. I still have him as a favorite. I still think this week is going to be his 100th win, in his 170th Pro Stock final. So again, until tomorrow, my voice is gone. Hope it comes back. Be back here tomorrow for day 2 of Camping World Drag Series qualifying coverage. Again, thank y'all for the support. Thank you for sticking with me through all of this and growing this channel exponentially. The support I've been received has been great from the PR and the media perspective. I've been breathing in a lot of nitromethane. My throat hurts. I got a lot left to do it. It is a quiet track. Shout out Jeff Gluck. We'll be back here tomorrow. But until then, subscribe, comment, like, share, hit the notification bell, baby. You know what to do. Blow this video up. Let's show them that NHRA isn't dead. Prove them all wrong. Until then, this has been Mighty Mac, and I will see you later.